Austin Ekeler requests a trade. Okay, it sounds like maybe contract extensions aren't going in the direction that he wants. It sounds like he wants to get paid. I don't see why he would ever want to leave LA. I've never been to LA, but I've only heard pretty damn good things. At the same time, you have Justin Herbert to go along with this. I mean, you have a decent contract. We'll get into the implications of this, but before we get into the details of the bad news, I have to let you know the best news I've ever had. Okay, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me in my career. We are launching flockfantasy.com. In my mind, the best fantasy football site that probably has ever existed. It's all of your favorite creators coming together to provide you the best product possible. We have myself, obviously yours truly, fantasy in-game, dynasty land football, fantasy stock exchange, all on one site. And when you sign up to flockfantasy.com with the link in the description or the comment section, you will get exclusive articles, exclusive live streams, an exclusive Discord chat, bonus content, everybody's rankings, access to your favorite creators, and with promo code FLOCK, you are going to get 30% off any subscription to go along with this. Yours truly will make a podcast of your fantasy football team. Make sure you take advantage of this special that we have going on for launch right now. I could not be more excited about this, but let's go through and let's talk about this Austin Ekeler situation. And before we go into where he could potentially be landing, the whole 9 yards, what I kind of want to look at is going to be the contract in comparison to other running backs. So let me go ahead and let's pull up the Austin Ekeler contract here. Ekeler coming off of, I want to say, a career season. Even though he was in that 2017 draft class, even though he's a little older at this point, I mean, you were still in a very good situation with at least what you had from Austin Ekeler this past year. I mean, as of now, the man is slated to make about $7.5 million this upcoming season, and it's only $1.5 million guaranteed. Now, if you're putting yourself in the shoes of Austin Ekeler, I mean, you kind of understand it given the fact that, hell, you're going to be 28 years old this upcoming season. You're a running back. We are looking at so many players at the running back position now with a little job uncertainty, now with not really understanding what their future is. We've already had the rumors of possibly Derrick Henry on the move. I mean, Joe Mixon has been rumored to possibly be let go. You have Dalvin Cook questionable in Minnesota. So if you're Austin Ekeler coming off a career season, right? Let's go ahead and let's pull up the Austin Ekeler numbers from this past year. Austin Ekeler looked phenomenal, and obviously it did show up in the stat box. I'd say is probably the best running back draft pick in full PPR leagues that you had this past season. From a rushing and receiving yard perspective, he was great with both. This is a running back that this past season, I mean, actually had 915 rushing yards, played all 17 games, both of which were career highs for Austin Ekeler, had 127 targets. That's a career high. 107 receptions. That's a career high to go along with it. And the man had a total of, 18 touchdowns. The year prior, he had 20 touchdowns. So if you are Austin Ekeler, and you're looking around the league and saying, okay, well, it doesn't matter how good I was this past season. I'm now going to be 28. I am now going to be going into a contract year with no guaranteed money afterwards. You kind of have to go through and you kind of have to make your move. Now, realistic expectation for this, because if we're looking at the Los Angeles Chargers situation, this is a team that is a contender this season. A lot of people thought the Chargers would be in the mix to make the Super Bowl this past year. They will most likely, in my mind, just be giving into the demands of Austin Ekeler. They most likely will be paying him, keeping him there because the running back depth they have beyond him is really non-existent. They went out of their way. They tried to sign, they drafted Isaiah Spiller in the 3rd round of this past year's NFL draft. Isaiah Spiller proved to be literally nothing. I don't think we need to go through and worry too much about Isaiah Spiller and what his impact is going to be with this team in the long term. And Joshua Kelly is really like, who are they going to if it's not Austin Ekeler? This isn't a situation where you have a running back too that you go, you know what? Well, maybe we are going to be moving on from Leonard Fournette, but we have a Rachaad White waiting in the wings. No, with Austin Ekeler, one, he's way better than someone like Leonard Fournette, and two, the depth behind him does not exist. So the Chargers, in my mind, don't have a lot of leverage in this situation. I think that they're almost going to have to go after him. I think that they're going to have to give him that contract extension that he would ask for. And if we're going to be looking at potential landing spots for Austin Ekeler, I don't see many that make a lot of sense. So let me just go ahead and let's go team by team here. We'll pull this back up just so we can share the screen as we do this. But I think we can safely say that nobody in the AFC West will be able to trade for Austin Ekeler. Doesn't matter what the Chiefs were to be willing to give up. The Chargers are going to laugh at them if they approach them with a deal. If you're looking at the Buffalo Bills, I would even make the argument that the Chargers are going to be highly incentivized to avoid trading him to Buffalo if they were to decide to move him as well. Buffalo in the market for a running back, but come on, they are your clear contenders. I would say that you probably don't have any AFC teams on the table for a Austin Ekeler trade. Going over to the NFC, we need to find teams that would be contending this upcoming season and also need a running back. So if we're going to be looking at the NFC East, I mean, I could see it where the Eagles go out there and make a play for Austin Ekeler. I think it would kill Austin Ekeler's fantasy football value compared to Los Angeles, given the fact that Jalen Hurts won't really check the ball down. Jalen Hurts will steal rushing touchdowns to the goal line, which currently Ekeler doesn't have to deal with that. I mean, maybe the Cowboys, but they just franchise tag Tony Pollard. Are you really telling me they're going to restructure a contract with Zeke, franchise tag Tony Pollard, and then make a move for Ekeler? Probably not realistic. The Giants just franchise tagged Saquon Barkley. They're not giving Austin Ekeler a contract. Commanders don't really look like real contenders. I mean, the Seahawks, maybe they could complement Kenneth Walker with Ekeler. Don't really see them wanting to do that. Rams, Cardinals, not serious contenders. Vikings, if they believe that Ekeler would be significantly better than what you would possibly have with Dalvin Cook, maybe they move on from Dalvin. Maybe they instead pivot over in that direction. But I honestly kind of find that a little difficult to believe as well. So in my mind, the most likely scenario is that Austin Ekeler will be going back to Los Angeles. They'll be giving him a contract. And right now, if you're going and looking at our rankings on flockfantasy.com, we already all have our 2023 rankings out there. So just go over, hit rankings, hit best ball. They're out there for 2023. You will see that collectively we have Austin Ekeler at 8, which I actually do think is a little bit ahead of where you currently have him going on Underdog Fantasy. So maybe Ekeler is in a void. If you're going to be looking at my rankings, not just the rankings of every analyst on flockfantasy.com, I even have Austin Ekeler lower than 8. I actually have Austin Ekeler down there at 11. So if you were to follow my rankings, you would never be drafting Austin Ekeler on Underdog, at least not at the price point he's currently going in mid-round 1. And these were the rankings before any of the trade rumors. But it looks like we have some Derek Carr news. Jimmy Garoppolo news. So I'm going to end this live stream, pivot over. We can talk Jimmy G for a little bit in the next video. Thank you again. Appreciate you. See you in a couple minutes as we're talking Jimmy G to the Raiders.